Hello, my name is Deb Coviello. I am on the board of the Cincinnati chapter of WFFC, and I'm so excited to be able to interview some amazing women and introduce to you today Ashley. Welcome to the conversation.
All right, thank you, Deb. So as Deb mentioned, I'm Ashley Ramudit. I'm a senior sensory analyst for Man Inc. here in Lebanon, Ohio.
Mhm.
And within sensory, for those of you who may not be familiar, we essentially run the taste panels, the food and beverage panels to get consumer or even employee feedback on what tastes good, can you tell a difference, etc. I've actually been with Man for 8 years now, and prior to that, I was out at Kansas State University getting my master's degree in food science.
Okay, so that's a little bit about what you do now, but tell us a little bit more about what are you passionate about, or what do you like about this work that you're doing?
Yeah, sure. So sensory, I love in general. It's actually something I kind of stumbled upon. I was completed my undergraduate degree at University of Georgia, and I really didn't discover sensory until probably the second semester of my senior year at UGA. So, right before graduation, right before you're supposed to make that big decision of what am I going to do the rest of my life? What career path am I going to take? And one of my course requirements was a sensory evaluation course, and I fell in love right there. For me, it's the perfect mix of both human interaction, working with other scientists and even with the panelists themselves, but then still that instrumental or, lab interaction, working with data, numbers, kind of more of that like black and white or objective. So being it's just that perfect blend of, still being able to interact with people, but with me being as an introvert, I still had that time to like go back to my desk and run the numbers and, be by myself for a bit.
That's a really amazing story. You just never know where inspiration is going to come from, whether it's in your schooling, because I know we have a lot of younger members of the WFFC, or in your career. Inspiration can come from just anywhere. So let's move this now into WFFC. Tell us a little bit more about your leadership roles with WFFC, and more importantly, what does this community mean to you?
Sure. So I've actually been on the Cincinnati WFFC board for 7 years. So when I first moved here to Ohio from Kansas, that first year, of course, I'm just kind of getting my feet wet. I'm new to the industry. I'm trying to meet people. And a colleague of mine introduced me to WFFC. Said, "Hey, are you familiar with this organization? They put on great events just to um, educate women and other attendees in the food and flavor industry." And after that first year, I remember I walked right up to the president at the time of the Cincinnati chapter and said, "Hey, I'd love to be on your board." So I signed up the next year. It's been 7 years now. I can't believe that. I have served as past president, actually, of the Cincinnati WFFC board, and I will be the upcoming 2021 vice president of the Cincinnati chapter. WFFC for me, it's filled that gap for me in terms of being someone new to the industry and also new to the area, the Cincinnati area. It's not only is it a professional organization and a professional networking outlet where you can meet other women and men, of course, in your industry, working in different departments or even similar departments to you. But for me, it's really turned into a social networking outlet as well. Whether it's, I can send a text message to an Alex Cahoon or Lou Weeks, and we can meet up for drinks and dinner and just chat, blow off some steam about work, but then also talk about what's going on in our lives at the time. I have a 3-year-old son at home, and I remember a few years ago, Melissa Harmon, a past board member, went with me to create my baby registry with me because as a new mom, I have no clue what I'm doing. But she took time out of her day to walk me through Babies R Us, say this is what you need. Definitely develop more into that personal interaction, and they're not colleagues, they're friends. I can I have a question, I can shoot them a text, whether it's work or personal related, and we can get it resolved.
I see a common theme here again. I've talked to some of the other women on the board as well, and there is just a strong sense of community. It is very welcoming. We've got your back, whether it's professionally, networking, or even on a personal note. We're there's not a person I haven't met that, maybe I'll still clear of them. They're just genuinely really great people. So I feel fortunate also to be part of the Cincinnati chapter. But let's just move forward just a little bit more. So we know what 2020 was. Again, we maintained a great organization. We still got together when we could virtually. But as a member of the leadership board, as you think about 2021, any thoughts, wishes, or messages that you want to share with people as we go into the new year?
Sure. So I think everyone would agree that 2020 was definitely the year of virtual meetings and virtual connections, conference calls and video calls, and Zoom, Skype, Microsoft Teams, and all that. And while it's been both interesting and challenging to learn how to communicate that way, my hope is that for 2021, as the current situation continues to evolve and hopefully resolve itself, that we can get back to that human and face-to-face connection. For me, I notice that I tend to communicate best face-to-face. So virtual communication is not my cup of tea. It's not my forte. I would much prefer, Deb, to be sitting with you across the table with a cup of coffee or tea and just chatting, face-to-face. So that's my hope for 2021, is to kind of get back to that and just realize that, hey, it's okay to get back together in person when the time allows, and there doesn't have to be this fear or stigma, and let's get back to what we do best, which is within the place industry, interact with one another. It's a community that, even though we may work for different companies, we're still there to provide some advice or provide a different outlook. Hey, have you thought about it this way, or have you explored this avenue? And getting that time again.
So I really appreciate your message again. We know what 2020 was, but let's continue that sense of community and hope for the best, that we can come back together to support each other in any way we need to. And I'm grateful for also being on the board and being part of a fantastic group. Ashley, I just want to thank you for your time. This has been a fantastic interview. Any last comments you want to share with anybody?
Yes, I would. If you're new to the industry, or even if you've been in the industry for a while, I do strongly recommend joining WFFC. You don't necessarily have to be a board member, but just to join the group, the organization, attend some of our events, whether it's virtual or in person. As I said, it's a great way to just meet people. We usually, when we do meet in person, we do usually have some cool venues that we meet at, and I always enjoy the topics. It's something fun and educational that you get to learn about the industry, that it's a lot more fun than maybe just looking it up on Google.
All right. Well, listen, I wish you a great rest of your day. Happy, safe holidays. And thank you so much for your time, Ashley.
Thank you. Same to you, Deb.
Okay.